without wasting much of our time, we'll be going straight into today's topic. But before I tell you what we have in stock for you today, which is coming as a surprise, I'd like to introduce to you a guest, Comrade Blessing A. AKINLOSOTU, who is the Nigerian Youth Congress, only Nigerian youth in the National Climate Change Council, where President Muhammadu Buhari is the chairman of the council. All ministers as members and a few governors. He goes by the name Comrade Blessing A. AKINLOSOTU. His topic today will be our climate change and involvement of the youth in global policies. Mr. Blessing, you're welcome on Breakfast Show this morning. Yeah,
thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I hope the climate is not, because I can see you are folding. I hope the weather is not, because we are here to do justice on,
Exactly.
on the climate. All right, sir, without taking climate or global crisis, is climate change caused by humans?
Is what?
Is climate change caused by humans?
No. You can't say.
I think that before that question, sorry to cut you short, please. I think our viewers want to know what climate change is all about, because it's not every.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So what's climate change, sir?
Thank you very much. Like the name, climate change, it's a change in weather, change in system, change in the activities that cause some negative influence to human existence. The fact remains that you will see that pollutions like all this flooding is also part of climate change. Earthquake, these are part of signs of climate change, and so many others stuffs that are not in human to human existence and nature. So, and like you rightly said, most of these are not really caused by human being. There are some that it's caused by human being through a process. It's not naturally that human being caused the issue. Take for instance the aspect of floods that have ravaged the whole of Nigeria today. You can tell people that, okay, if channels is being blocked, drainage is not properly constructed, maybe canal is not worth putting into together, you can say it will definitely cause flood. But can you say water is being caused by human nature? No, because the rain is coming from heaven, and the level at which a rain will definitely fall determines not by human nature. So I sincerely believe that it is not something that is caused directly by human nature, but there are some instances that we also cause on our own level, which I would like to mention a few of them. The aspect of recycling of waste, most of all these plastics and all the rest. So by the time most of all these things is pushed back into our system, blocking channels and also trying to pollute our water and all the rest, it has some hazard effects. And most of all this can as well. There are some content that are there that are not good for human nature. And if most of all these things are mixed with water that people drink, if it's not properly treated and all the rest, it can definitely lead to some hazard in the body. And also the aspect of pollution. People take things lightly, burning of bush around yourself, trying to untidying of your environment. These are natural disasters that human beings can as well cause.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. Right there, there was a time I stumbled across a particular study which was talking about geographical engineering, and they were trying to explain to us how humans alter the climate. And you said just right now that it is not directly a human's cause, you understand, but right there in that particular study, they talked about humans humans having a way to mess with the climate.
Yes, for sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like there's a way they alter the climate like we have here in Nigeria, we have rain. What do they call them? What do they call them?
Deforestation of.
Different. I'm talking about people who can actually divert rains.
Okay.
You understand? To other regions. We've seen in some cases where there's an occasion or where there's an event, and then you see someone who just come and they call them rainmaker. They bring the rain and they tell the rains to go if they want to. So that is in relating to what we just asked you now.
Yes.
Some human beings or some particular human beings, I don't know if it's a gift or talent, how is it possible for them to be able to alter our climate?
Yes, life is about natural and supernatural activities. What happens in the natural sense, also we have the opposite side happen in the supernatural sense. So you made mention of people changing rain.
Yeah.
These are supernatural mists, and which is not naturally occur at every point in time, but there are some that God gives that talent as well. And not only that, not only even aspect of rain. See, the aspect of climate, if everything is going as planned, as appropriate, definitely we won't be talking about climate change. But because you will see a whole lot of things that human being has really altered, the aspect of rain is one of it. What about deforestation? Yeah. Whereby we should have something that will be able to suppress the winds, and also try to control the weather and everything. But you will see that a lot of human nature has already entered the wide rich forest. They have cut all the
trees down
without even planting another one
they just
to
keep
replace.
cutting, they don't plant.
They are just so, and all those things expose the earth into unnecessary threats, and these are part of the challenges that.
Right. So is this
of the world, and that is why the United Nations has now taken it upon themselves that the best time is now. See how we can be able to at least reduce the level and the impact on human.
What are the impacts of climate change?
Is a terrible impact. Is if it is on a negative aspect, the one is northeast is already rampaging with floods, and this tells you that people, there will be a crisis of food because when the whole of the vegetation is already gone, houses that are already be rode away with waters, you will be health challenges, cholera outbreaks, and so many things that is coming in some few months to come. These are projections, not is something that is 100% correct, because floods entering houses, destructing activities, this can lead to a lot of outbreak of disease. Even the cholera will just be a minor from what you definitely see in some few months to come. So the government must be able to channel their energy into see how this negative influence will not be able to affect human nature more than expected. Know-how of the younger generation is needed, and if you go in deep, you will see that more of research, solution-based research, are being conducted by the younger generation all over the world, and these are solutions that can be able to affect and alter the climate change, not to have more impact and negative influence on human existence. So youth involvement is naturally a dimension that we cannot shy away from, because the truth is that we need their expertise, we need their knowledge, we need their potential contribution to see to the development of that.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. The last question I'll be asking you on the climate change and involvement of the youth in global policies will be you are the only Nigerian youth in the Climate Change Council, where President Buhari is the chairman of the council. I
think that question is of two forms. Yes, Youth Climate Change Council has a long, can be able to curb climate change. The contribution is of younger generation, and sincerely speaking, we have started trying to see just the knowledge of one person. It is bringing people that are experts aspects. There are people who are environmentalists. There are people who have been on this climate change discussion for over a year. Vegetarian when it comes to issue of weather changing and everything. So we have constituted a committee. We are expanding it gradually to see how we can be able to got at their contribution, discuss majorly how youth can be effectively part of these policies and the implementations, and what we can be able to offer so that we can solve the problem completely. And the second aspect is the election. Election is something that everybody is involved. Even you, the media,
Yes.
I'm very sure you are very much interested in who becomes the president of this country, because every decision is boils back on the leadership. So if good leadership is not in place, definitely they cannot be a great country. For sure, what we did within the youth sector is to see ourselves as one and bring all the stakeholders together. We have started conversations and discussions for the past few months ago, and very soon you are going to hear the positions of the younger generation, because we need to assess all the top gladiators who are definitely at the forefront. But it is not just a decision of blessing, it is a decision of major stakeholder within the youth and student structure, so that we can sit down and be able to move forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let me take you back a little bit when you were telling us about the role of the youth in the campaign. You made mention about the convention that will take place on the 2nd and 4th of November. Please tell us more about that.
Yes, it is part of the United Nations framework. They have a body under the United Nations that dwell much on climate change. It's United Nations Framework Convention for Climate Change, and they have a youth wing entirely to assess the positions of the younger generation all over the world. So at that conference, it's going to happen even before the conference of party, and this is bringing over 72 countries, youth representative from over 72 countries together. We want to discuss, because climate change again has different dimension. Different continent has their own issue, why different country has their own issue. What affects the people in the Asian is different from what affects us in the Africa. Even within the African space, we also have a different climate change that affects Nigeria differently from the one that affects South Africa, East Africa, and all the rest. So when we assemble, we are trying to discuss this matter, look at what really affects different stuff, come out with a workable solution, couple with the backup research that individual younger generation has done over time, and be able to come up with a holistic and robust solution so that we can move forward.
Thank you so much, Comrade. I know I said it was going to be the last question, but just before we call it a wrap for today on climate change and involvement of the youth in global policies, there's a major disaster in Nigeria. There's been a flood everywhere. There's an outbreak. There were sayings that the Cameroon government opened up their dams, and that is why we had. But what is actually my concern right now, which is why I want to ask you, is they said there was a warning, a fair warning to the Nigerian government about this disaster we have right now in Nigeria. You understand? So my question will be, how are we not going to stumble over this same stone that we've stumbled on? How are we going to avoid not stumble over it again? Are there ways, or are there bodies or committees that are actually prepared for something like this to not occur again? And why is it that we had to be hit with this kind of disaster before we now start looking for solutions or looking for ways out? So what you as the president of the Nigerian Youth Climate Change Climate Change, what are your blueprints? What are your that we don't fall a victim of such disaster again? Because from the way I'm seeing it, I think the government is not doing enough, or probably they've just been ignorant, you understand, to these natural disasters. So, which is something I'm very, very well concerned about. Over 700 people have been dead, have been killed with this flood. Over 7 or 5 million homes people have been displaced from their homes. farms, people can't go to their farms to harvest their crops anymore and things like that. So this is a very serious issue we have at hand right now. And I don't think the government is taking this as serious or as taking this as an emergency. Like, sorry to go into this particular aspect of this topic. Peter Obi was like, in one of his statements, he was like, they need to declare state of emergencies in these affected areas where this flood has actually taken over. So what are you putting up together for us to make sure we don't fall victim to this kind of disaster again?
Thank you very much. The truth of the matter is that the younger generation is the most hit in this disaster. A parent that have a family of 7, you will realize that 5 of them are younger generation. So when you do your statistics, we had the most hits for this disaster, the people that are displaced. It is quite unfortunate. Information has it that dam or no dam between Cameroonian and Nigerian, but the honest truth is that I don't want to subscribe to that 100%. If there is an agreement Nigeria has had in the past, that is with the government who has been over 20 or 30 years ago. So I think it is better now for us to look at it. Let's review it. If the dam is something that has really affected the flooding, definitely. And I know that is the reason why the president constituted the committee. These are part of what we'll be discussing, and it will be part of submissions that we are going to bring on board so that we can be able to resolve that. And moving forward as well, it is not just only about dam. Weather is changing naturally because the level of rainfall, even the weather forecast has already projected it that this year we are going to have enough rain. And this is to tell you that there's a lot that will happen, not just about a dam here, but the honest truth is that we need to do a lot. There are some people that their house is very close to river already, so you cannot, even if there is a high rainfall within their vicinity, they will still experience this flooding. But what government should be able to do moving forward is to see how we can be able to set up a planning and prevention mechanism before it started. So if your house is close to the water, it is better that government started having an alternative to relocate most of all these people before the rain starts, so that we won't have this kind of disaster anymore.
All right, thank you so much for doing justice all the climate change and involvement of the youth in global policies. All right, we just had Comrade Blessing A. AKINLOSOTU, who is the chairman of the Nigerian Youth Congress, all the Nigerian youth in the National Climate Change Council, where President Muhammadu Buhari is the chairman of the council. All right, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Honor our invitation next time.
Definitely.
All right, and I wish you a successful meeting in Egypt. Is it next month?
Next month, yes.
All right, I pray you guys will come up with a quick and lasting solution to the climate change.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much.